My name is Richie Nanakwame London. I am a creative and I am a Ghanaian.
Have you ever heard of the Eden Foundation?
Yes, I heard of the Eden Fair Foundation through a friend, Nana Made in China. He told me much about it and joined their stage where they were doing a whole program on depression and anxiety.
Have you ever been depressed before?
Well, depression, I would say, is something that literally happens to lots of Ghanaians, and I have been in that stage for quite some time now, and I'm glad I met this foundation.
So tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, first of all, thanks for the opportunity for giving me to speak my truth, because being depressed is one of the toughest things that could ever happen to a human being. Because we in Africa, we don't like to talk about our depression. And most importantly, when you're a youth, talking about depression is so dicey because the very first person you open up to doesn't take you too serious. Because in Africa, we're open up to talk about our fibroid, we are open up to talk about our HIV and all of that. But when you open up to talk about mental illness, people don't take you for serious. So my journey through this process, or finding out I was depressed, I didn't know, because dating it started way back in far beyond 2017. But I felt depression really hitting me at 2018, 2019. And then 2020, I was able to find out that, look, this was depression. It all started with my mom and dad's relationship. It was dicey during my stay in high school. So I was just living over it because I felt like they were two adults and they could settle their own issues. But far beyond that, the story became even far more worse when my mom had to sell her wedding ring to pay my school fees at one point. And I was being sacked out of school, and that is something that had never happened to me before, because I wasn't that kid that would sit in class for a teacher to come and say, go home for your school fees, because I always had my stepdad paying my school fees on time. I always had everything I needed. But when the stages got to where my mom would go like, we don't have the money, then it became difficult for me. So I had to now find other means of making the money myself, and then they pay back and I would use it for extra provisions. Well, I would not lie to you. Finding out I was depressed, I came to also realize my mom was depressed. And truth be told, if I was to put a picture of my mom here and there, and I tell you this was her before and this was her after, you might think it's just a facade, because now my mom has totally moved from her old nature to something new that we don't know. I can't look at my mom and be like, this is my mom any longer, because she is way more different than she was before. She's never happy. She's always keeping to herself, and she looks more tinier than my mom used to be. So I can tell you my mom is depressed, and I'm hoping that when I get out of this stage of depression, I am going to help her. And I have started that. I'm helping her to speak her truth. I'm helping her to come out and tell herself, look, I am not depressed, and I'm going to work out of it. But it's difficult, because when someone is depressed, depression is like a strange friend. You don't know. Well, my stepdad was someone who is like, move. Like, he just migrates from one place to the other. Like, if the situations get to the point where it's worse, he's moving on to a different stage. So, because at one point, I had the fear of calling my own stepdad. I couldn't call him. I couldn't talk to him. And I was always the point of blame for my mom, because she felt like I turned down proposals from my stepdad, and I was the reason why she broke up with my stepdad. And that was one of the things that even made me more depressed, because I felt like as a youth at this stage, when two adults have made their own mistake, why take the blame? Because one, I didn't accept his company job, and secondly, too, I had to move away from them because I felt I couldn't stay with them, so I had to live alone. So I was living with my grandmom, But living with my grandmom even became worse because every time over on the phone when my mom would call, she's like, you are the reason why I broke up with your stepdad. You are the reason. So I had that guilt always lingering in, and it has been dangerous. But for my stepdad, I don't really know how he's feeling right now. I heard he came to the house a couple of times, and we're cool with him, but honestly, I don't have the courage to call him or something. Maybe I'll try that one day. If I'm not wrong with dating, 2019 was when I really felt I was depressed.
Were you able to connect with someone?
At first instinct, no.
Wait. Were you sad or were you depressed?
Well, sadness is very relatable to depression in the sense that you want to keep to yourself and you want to do the things you used not to do. For instance, I had to delete all my social accounts. I had to stay away from friends. And I don't think the definition of sadness is staying away from people. So I was totally depressed.
Why do you have to stay away from friends? Why do you do that?
Well, like, I don't know, but like, I would say depression is a strange friend. Immediately it grabs you. It's like you have a new friend, a new pal. You don't need the other people. You just need them all away from you. And sometimes you feel like if you were someone who was an extrovert or someone who was a friend person, if you have friends around you, it's like a border. It's like you're disturbing your mind. Your mind needs to be thinking. And that's how depression is. Your mind needs to be racing on deja vus, you dying at a young age, you trying to kill yourself. Those were the things your mind needs space to do. So having friends around who come and probably be a means of escapism to you, I don't think friendship was needed. So I had to cut my friends, I had to mute their status, I had to go off my socials, and I had to change my number. That's how far I could go.
Were you suicidal?
Yes, at one point. But after watching a couple of other people who had been through depression and watched other therapists and tried to talk to them, I said to myself, I am not suicidal, and so I wasn't going to take my life. But I had seen myself at like so many times, because with depression, you always want to be alone. So my family would always be in the hall, or they'll have a family. I can remember during Christmas, the whole family was outside, and I didn't want to be outside. I just wanted to be on the bed, and the next thing I wanted to do was take a pill that was given to me, overdose it, and at least escape from everything. Because I felt like, and sometimes I was proud of people who took their lives, because I felt like they were brave. Because anytime I took a pill or anytime I did something without my family noticing what I was doing, I felt scared. I felt I couldn't do this, so I told myself, look, I am not suicidal. Other people have lived through this process, and so I can make it through.
You being depressed?
Well, I would say there's so many things that made me depressed. One, my mom and my stepdad's breakup. Two, I felt my dad was not being too supportive like he should. And three, I felt as my mom is no longer with my stepdad, I was a means of fortune to her. I was like a breadwinner, and I wasn't being able to meet up to that standard. I could take up a job, I would be at my best of it, and I felt, look, the money I was making is not enough for my mom. She had seen even far more bigger money than what I'm giving to her. So I felt the whole pressure coming in, family, the blame and everything. There were so many things that made me depressed. Family, friends, and disappointment.
Were you disappointed in yourself when you saw your friends on social media in the way like they succeeded?
No, I only looked at them and I smiled and I laughed because at one point when I was depressed, I could see myself go live on Instagram and I would be all bubbly. But deep inside, I just wanted my dead shadow to just swallow me up. But I would just look at everybody and be like, hey, what's up everybody on Instagram? But deep down I was dying. I can remember some time ago I went out with my friend, China, and we were actually eating. He actually made me try some meals I have never tried. And trying the meal, honestly, everything around the whole place was interesting. And I kept faking my laughter. And honestly, he didn't feel it. And he's always a happy person. So I was like, at one point, I was like, you know what? Maybe probably you might not see me tomorrow. You might be laughing now. Maybe I might not see you tomorrow, because I just had to live the moment and made him feel, look, if you're happy, I'm happy for you. But deep down, I felt like I'm dying. I'm dying young, and so I just had to fake it. So sometimes at one point, I'll just take a picture and just post. So when I noticed I was really dying within, was my creative side was dying. I could just post something and I didn't have a status, I didn't have a caption for it. Then I could leave it blare and I could go like, oh, this is not necessary. I would delete all my feeds, I would come back again, and I'll just see happy youths on Instagram. I'm like, you're all depressed, but you're just putting it up there like you're happy, but you don't know, because I've been doing that so many times, and that's it.
Do you think that your parents or your family knew what I went through?
No, I couldn't talk to any of them.
Do you think they have an understanding of what depression is?
I think I've spoken to an adult before, and the only thing the adults could tell me was, kid, depressed. What can make you depressed? Forget it. And one funny thing is, these people will tell you be strong. And you know, you are trying to be strong, but you can't be strong. Because your mind has, and the mind is the greatest weapon. It has already been weakened. So you telling me to be strong is not working. And my family, my mom is like nonchalant. She doesn't care. For instance, I'm going to tell my mom I'm depressed. She'll probably listen to you, but she won't take you for serious until maybe she sees the later effects of it. And I don't live with my dad, so it's like we're distance away. And my grandmom that I could talk to now, I can't really talk to her. So I couldn't tell no family what I was going through. I could only talk to my cousin, but I was never direct with her. I'll be like, oh, Albie, can we talk about something? Then I would just switch the conversation.
Right now, from 1 to 10, how do you feel? 1 for highly depressed, 10 for low.
I would say 10, or maybe 8. 8. Yes.
What do you think, what do you look for the foundation and the app says you? How do you say?
So I heard the app is friendly, very confidential, and that's what I wanted. And I'm glad the app is doing that, because I wouldn't like to tell people what I'm going through. Because, for instance, people would just mock me with the whole fact of, oh, you had a silver spoon in your mouth, and now you don't have a silver spoon in your mouth, so you are depressed. But like with the app, I'm talking to people whom I don't know, but they are willing to help me, and they can listen to my truth, and they're going to be of help. So I just hope the app is just, as I said, very confidential.
So you can sign in anonymously, but the only difference is when you are talking to a doctor, you introduce your name.
Oh, sure. That's beautiful.
And then we have moderators on the app that are going to give you and we have moderators on the app that are going to give you motivational videos and speeches, etc.
Wow. I think that's so needed, because I'm trying to break away from depression. I had to watch a couple of videos, so if the app is going to do that, I think it's cool. Because you don't want to go on YouTube and Google depression and someone is telling you why depression is okay for you. But if the app is going to give you videos that will really motivate you, then we're ready for the app.
Do you believe that when you go through the toughest time, that part of you gets you through depression and you come out of it become the best version of yourself?
Yes, I feel so. Because you've learned through you've lived through something other people can't live through. So when you come back, you're coming out bigger and better. So for instance, you know how to relate to people. So for instance, having to be at a stage where I was depressed before, I wouldn't see happy faces and judge them because they are happy. But I'd rather see those who are very happy and speak through their deepest mind. Because if the happiest faces, they're the ones that go through the deepest stuff that you don't know about. So I think living through after depression is going to help me. It's helping me though, because I now know who to talk to and who not to talk to.
How do you feel when you hear somebody recording laughing with someone with a mental health problem?
That person is totally mad as well. Because why laugh at someone's issue? Definitely then you have a problem.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.